Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Hannah Fernandez, and you're watching SCORE TV. SCORE is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping small businesses across the United States get off the ground, grow, and achieve their goals through education and mentorship. So whether you are a new entrepreneur or you've been in business for a long time, our SCORE mentors could offer you free mentoring and other resources for the life of your business. To connect with us, check out our website at chicago.score.org. You can also email us at info@scorechicago.org or call us at 312-353-7724. Today we're going to talk about how the state of Illinois Central Management Services could assist entrepreneurs in getting certified. With me today is Irma Lopez, Outreach Manager of Business Enterprise Program and the Veteran-Owned Business Program. Irma, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Hannah. I'm really excited to be here, and I thank you for inviting us. And I hope that the information we impart today is of importance and of benefit to our small businesses in the state of Illinois.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. And Irma, many small businesses do not take advantage of the opportunities available through small business certifications because the process seems complicated. And this show lets entrepreneurs know the many resources to assist them along the way. So can you start off by telling us what is the Business Enterprise Program, or BEP for short?
Sure. BEP stands for Business Enterprise Program, and what we do is work to certify women, minorities, persons with disabilities, and that helps them grow through the contracting process that the state currently has in place, where any contract over $100,000 must have a goal assigned to it. And for the entirety of the state spend, we aspire to spend at least 20% of that. So you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars that are on the table for our BEP vendors to take advantage to the procurement process.
So just to clarify, for the Business Enterprise Program, it's for minority-owned businesses, female-owned businesses, and also disabled person-owned businesses, correct? And is there a certification program for veteran-owned businesses as well?
Yes, there is. I'm happy to say there is. It's the Veteran Business Program, and for the Veteran Program, we have a 3% aspirational goal for all spend across the state procurement process. It is separate from the BEP program, yet housed within, and we process the certification for the veteran program, business program.
Got it. And in today's highly competitive market, why should a small business get certified? So can you name some key benefits?
So key benefits is being able to take advantage of those goals on contracts. So, for example, there's a $1 million contract, and a large company lands that contract, and we call that larger company a prime. That prime must come to the table with an agreement with a subcontractor, BEP vendor, to be able to satisfy a goal on a contract. So that $1 million contract has a 10% goal. That means that the prime needs to figure out how to spend at least $100,000 of that contract relative to the contract, subcontracting to a BEP certified vendor.
So if you don't get certified, there's money that you're leaving on the table.
Exactly. And you may be too small to have the capacity to enter into a contract by yourself. This is the state's efforts to provide growth opportunities to the smaller business to someday grow enough to become a prime themselves, hopefully.
And that gives you the experience once you're actually working with these bigger companies in the prime, correct?
Yes, by all means, because now you start small. And you coming in to work with this company not only helps the company get that contract to work with the state of Illinois, working with that company provides you the opportunity to grow capacity. So what you were able to do for a small amount, now you're growing and you're able to hire more people, perhaps purchase more equipment, and provide your goods and services on a larger scale.
Now let's dive further into details around qualifications. What are the main requirements to be eligible to apply and become BEP certified?
There's three main factors. Number one, you must be a woman, a minority, person with disability, and have at least 51% ownership or majority. And that could be comprised by a number of individuals, if it's 3 women or whatever, as long as it comprises at least 51%. Number two, you must be a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, and you must not have made over $75 million in revenue for the fiscal year. So it's a pretty generous cap from what I've heard in other certifying entities. But it's in the hopes that we will grow you enough to have you graduate at some point. And we have had some graduate from the program.
Those are some success stories.
Yes, yes.
Huh? So how long does the BP certification process take? What should business owners expect?
Okay, we have by mandate 60 days to provide a determination, but again, the onus is on the vendor to ensure that they provide a complete and accurate application. Because once we receive the application, it gets assigned to an analyst, and then in the event that there's something missing, the analyst is now beginning a communication with the vendor, which inevitably leads to delays in getting the determination of approval, or hopefully not a denial, but you want to get that process done as smoothly and quickly as possible. So the better your application and more accurate it is, the smoother the review process will determine your approval as well.
And they can go into some office, right, to go ahead and get it reviewed before actually submission?
Well, we always encourage our vendors, all our vendors, to visit and make an appointment with their small business development centers, or SBDCs. They possess a wealth of knowledge and resources and understanding of contracting in general, as well as certification, and they provide all these services free of charge. They're funded by the state's Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity and the federal Small Business Administration. So aside from all the certification resources that they provide, they also make sure that you are indeed ready and fully established to jump into contracting, and especially doing business with the government. They're an excellent resource to tap into.
And just to be clear for the viewers out there, you said that this is free of charge. So what is the cost to become BP certified? Can you go ahead and clarify that?
Yes, great question. We do not charge. Our certification is entirely free of charge, and I believe other than ourselves, only the federal government offers that, as well as for the veteran program. We don't charge for the certification application.
That's good to know, because especially if an entrepreneur or small business owner is starting in a business, every single expense matters.
Exactly.
You're always looking at every single cost.
Yes, and it's something that our vendors need to take into account. I don't discourage them from looking into other certifications, because depending on what you sell and who you want to sell to, it may be in your best interest to make that investment. But as a small business, knowing that it could be cost prohibitive, you want to make sure that you're investing your money where you're going to get the best returns.
Now, let's say that everything is squared away and you're certified. What does the state of Illinois purchase? Can you give some examples of the types of contracts that are available out there?
So anything that a human being needs to sustain themselves and live, the state of Illinois purchases, because there are agencies that provide everything to citizens. The one that comes to mind is our correctional institutions. We have DCFS, we have Department on Aging. These are all agencies that are providing goods and services to our vendors, anything from hairpins, shampoos, food, to professional services like consultants, engineers, plumbing. So anything and everything that you could possibly think of, other than liquor and the sin industry, the state of Illinois purchases.
Now that you've given those examples, where can these small business owners find these contracting opportunities? Where do they serve?
We have 5 procurement bulletin boards.
Okay.
The state of Illinois posts all its upcoming solicitations. They're all published. The biggest one being Bid Buy,
Okay.
which is general services. Then we have the Illinois Higher Procurement Bulletin Board. And it's important to note this bulletin board because the universities are doing a concerted effort in identifying opportunities to place goals on them, and then in turn identifying the BEP certified vendors to come in and take part of those contracting opportunities. We also have the Illinois Tollway, which is probably the golden agency to work with, as they always put out some pretty impressive and large ongoing contracting opportunities in the billions, where you may have missed it this term, but you might be able to come in the next, and they pay very quickly.
That's good news.
It is good news. I haven't heard any issues about our state paying, but in the past they were much quicker to pay because they have their own source of revenue, of course the tollway and federal funding. So it was always one of the preferred agencies to work with. Then we have IDOT, or Department of Transportation, and Capital Development Board that handles construction of buildings and upward structures. So there's huge opportunities there as well.
And which industries are the most involved in selling to the state of Illinois?
So the BEP through the the data collection and reports that we put out every year, they identified 6 pillar industries. The largest one being construction. Then you have the information and technology, or IT. We have professional services, the health industry, equipment and commodities, and food. So your professional services are going to cover everything from engineers, architects, physicians, to plumbers, carpenters, and the like. Equipment and commodities cover your rock salt, vehicles, office supplies, and the like. And food is self-explanatory, but it's important that I point out that it's probably our least represented industry in our system. So
The food
there's a lot,
industry?
yes. And
Okay.
considering a good example, the Department of Corrections, they have to be buying a lot of food. Well, it's not, we don't have enough vendors in our system to provide that on a larger scale. So that's an industry that we're hoping to increase
So
numbers
for
in our
those
database.
restaurant or food entrepreneurs listening out
Yes,
there,
come in and consider getting certified. If you're a smaller catering service, I also see a lot of lost opportunities when our smaller colleges and universities put out events. It doesn't reflect well on them, and they don't like doing this, but they're having to go to the bigger chain. I don't want to mention any, but the larger
Sure.
catering providers, because they can't find anyone in the system to provide that service for them.
and that's why it's so important. I thank you so much for being here today, because a lot of the small business owners listening, they don't even bother becoming certified because, sometimes they may just feel intimidated by the whole process.
Yes.
And now that you're here, they know that there's actually some help out there
Yes.
with different organizations.
Yes, because as I mentioned before, I'm not going to lie, it's not an easy peasy process. There is a lot of documentation that you are providing to ensure that indeed you are in control of day-to-day functions. And by that I mean it's just you're not with 51% owner. We also want to make sure that you are fully knowledgeable of the goods and services that you are providing. And that is also supported by your resume, your previous contracts, or purchase orders that you have handled in the past. So we're not only certifying you as a woman minority-owned business, we're certifying your capability to provide the goods and services that you are signing up for. So those are important things to keep in mind. The control is a huge factor.
And that's a good thing, because you want to make sure that you're even setting up the businesses to succeed, because they've got all their I's dotted, all their T's crossed.
Great point, Hannah, because a lot of people don't when you're running a business, and I give business owners a huge amount of credit because it's a huge undertaking. It takes a lot of courage to go out on your own and be your own boss. And it sounds great, but to be your own boss, you're also responsible for your success. And unfortunately, many times your failure if it doesn't go well. But keeping your documentation in order is very important, not only for certification, but I see more and more when you're coming to for a loan or some type of grant or the likes, they pretty much ask for the same thing that certification does. So if you start the good record keeping at an early stage, it becomes more easier than having to dig something that you created 15 years ago.
And that's a good habit to start and maintain for the life
Exactly.
of your
I cannot
business.
point enough how important that is.
And again, you're not alone. There's services with the state of Illinois, there's SCORE, and we have a lot of resource partners that we could actually go ahead and refer to one another to help out the small business owners so that they don't have to be alone on this journey of being an entrepreneur.
Exactly. Just about every government entity, city, county, federal, we all share some type of resource availability to our vendors because our job is to help you become successful and grow. We understand you're a small business. Not everybody wants to grow to be big, but those that do have that ambition and want to come in and take advantage of them, that's what we're here for. At the very least, to inform you and guide you to where to go.
Absolutely. And the great thing is, our organizations, our visions and missions, it's powered by the small business success, because when the small business success, we succeed, we create jobs, we start businesses, and that's how we go ahead and improve our economy.
Exactly. I take great pride in seeing vendors that we saw sign up 2-3 years ago now have nice plump contracts with primes or directly with the state. It's very rewarding to see that your hard work pays off.
And I'm sure they're very grateful to you, Irma.
Yes, they are grateful, but I'm just happy to see that there's results, because oftentimes we work so hard, we get lost in the shuffle of papers and such. So when I see vendors come up at different events and I see that now they have 2 or 3 employees on board with them that they didn't have before, and see that they're growing as a result of different contracting opportunities, it makes it all worthwhile.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear that. And now, if a business owner is already certified with, let's say, another entity like the city of Chicago or Cook County, would the state of Illinois recognize and accept that certification?
Yes, we do. We do have a recognition process, but it's important to note that it's a recognition and it's not reciprocal. So the city of Chicago has recognition with city of Chicago. I'm sorry, the state of Illinois recognizes City of Chicago, Cook County, IDOT, PACE, Metra, CTA, WBDC, which is a Women's Business Development Center, the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council, as well as a Mid-State Supplier Development Council. So that affords you a much shorter, streamlined application. Again, it's also free, but as opposed to, it's almost a 2-page document full of requirements for the certification. Under recognition, you're submitting about 4 items, which is your certification with that entity, financials, signed and notarized document, and business license if you're operating in Chicago.
So you said that the state of Illinois recognizes and accepts those other certifications. What about the other agencies or companies? Do they accept and recognize the BEP certification as well?
Yes, like I mentioned, those entities, those larger, the city of Chicago as a whole does not accept our certification. However, many of its sister smaller agencies do.
Okay.
A large one being Chicago Public Schools. I am constantly handling, and I appreciate they're sending their vendors to us, minimum 3 to 4 a week. They're sending me because they're working with vendors to get certified to take advantage of opportunities at Chicago Public Schools. There's a lot going on with Chicago Public Schools, and they're encouraging the vendors to come to us, number one, because we're free, and we do churn out our applications a lot faster. So they take advantage of that. Chicago Housing Authority, Chicago Park District, McCormick Place, and then all the casinos in the state of Illinois are also putting goals on contracts. So,
Perfect.
I mean, a lot of these casinos are buying office supplies, toilet paper, toiletries. These are maintenance, security. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's just a matter of knowing where to be and how to take advantage of it. Another large development is community colleges in the state of Illinois are now under, I don't want to say mandate, but they're being encouraged to put goals on their contracts. And they too are doing a concerted effort in identifying contracts to put out with goals and bringing the BEP vendors to take advantage of them.
And I know you touched upon this before. You shared that you love seeing the results of small business owners succeeding. So tell me more about, what is your favorite part of your work with the BEP?
I love coming out and educating people on and maybe not educating, but informing people about the benefits and advantages of being certified. Oftentimes I see somewhat successful vendors not know anything about the certification process and how it works in contracting with the state of Illinois and how much the state purchases. So that's one of the things that I really enjoy, apart from being able to travel the entire state and getting to know people of all different diverse backgrounds and the business ideas and the way they run their business. They're very innovative and inventive, and it's exciting to be a part of that.
And it also keeps you inspired, right? And
It
also
does.
keeps your mind strong and alert as well. And
It does, because
inspired.
no one knows everything at any given time, and just about every single event that I have been to, I have come away learning something. So many times vendors will come to me and ask me a question that I have no clue what the answer is. So now I take it upon myself to go do the research for it so I could give them a better answer, at the very least direct them to the correct person that would provide them the information that they need.
Absolutely, and that's how it works with SCORE as well. I mean, we have so many different mentors in many industries across the country. And so, for example, if somebody comes to me and it's not a subject matter that I'm an expert in, then we have a network of over 11,000 volunteers across the country to actually help out as well.
Yeah, I do come across a lot of your SCORE colleagues in my outreach efforts, and they're all so excited. And it's also very pleasing to see that somebody with so much experience is doing this and kind of giving back
Absolutely. We actually had a membership meeting a couple weeks ago, and I was telling a lot of the SCORE mentors and volunteers what made you join SCORE, just to kind of remind them, because some of our SCORE mentors, they've been around volunteering for 18 years. There's actually somebody I heard about who volunteered for 40 years
Oh my God.
at SCORE, and he's, in his 90s right now. But every single one of them, in some form or another, said, it's because I want to give back. I just want to go help out other people. And so for those entrepreneurs listening out there, if you're at home alone and feeling intimidated, do not be. There's so many resources, and people like Irma, people like the SCORE mentors and volunteers, we really want to go and help out sincerely and genuinely.
Exactly. Genuinely is the best word to describe what we do. I believe that the whole of us, the entire the group of us in different government entities, we're all here for the same reason. And I think we are able to excel because we love what we do, and we're here to really help out and give answers where we can.
Absolutely. And at SCORE Chicago, one of our goals is to collaborate more with our resource partners to serve the small business community better. So can small business owners obtain more information or attend a workshop to better understand the BEP?
Yes, as I stated, I'm the outreach manager, and we have another team member, our outreach coordinator. What we do is make every effort to cover as much of the state as possible. And with that, we have our workshops that we present at wherever we are invited. I do a bi-monthly workshop with the Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council. We do exhibits regularly, and all of this is made public on our calendar. I'd be happy to provide this information if people call you later.
Yeah.
Just direct them my way, and I'd be happy to provide them with the calendar because it's being updated daily. We're daily being invited and asked to participate in different events.
And is this calendar on the website?
Yes, it is. It's a public website.
What is the website for that?
It's sell2illinois.gov. That will direct you to the BEP. It's the general BEP page, and there you'll be directed on to find our certification portal. It'll give you more insight into the program, such as our public acts. We have a BEP council that governs a lot of what we do, and then we have the events calendar that you're welcome to look at and hopefully join us sometime.
Perfect. So you said it's sell2 number 2 or TO?
Yes, thank you. Yes, sell the number 2 illinois.gov. Sell2illinois.gov.
Perfect. And Irma, what additional programs can women, minority persons with disabilities, and veteran-owned businesses have access to?
I would highly recommend that all businesses access the Small Business Set-Aside Program. This program is available to all businesses regardless of race or gender. And this is where contracts under $100,000 covering over 673 commodity codes are set aside for small businesses. So you have to register because they're going to have to determine that you are within certain revenue caps to ensure that you are indeed a small business. And this is a great way to get your foot in the door and get some experience with contracting on a smaller level. And again, I can't repeat this enough. Visit your SBDC or your Small Business Development Center. For those that are ready and want to jump into contracting, the PTACs, your Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, which are also free of charge and funded by DCEO and the SBA.
And Irma, what advice and recommendations would you give to small business owners looking to become certified and also do business with the state of Illinois?
Thank you. Yes, I would ask them, number one, to start the application process. It's not that it's not easy, but you as a business you probably have everything in some file or something. So get it out and start working at it. The other thing I can't stress enough is how important it is to network. More and more of our vendors have had success in getting contracts with the larger companies because they've come up to events, shaked hands, exchanged capability statements, which basically is your business resume, and had called back because they remembered we met this person that provides maintenance services or security and will be called back in and work to subcontract with the larger companies. So networking is very important.
Because you never know where you're going to meet out there. It only takes that one chance or one person to even change your life and your business.
Exactly. And I've been at events where, people have had issues and concerns, challenges with getting into certain contracting opportunities. And sometimes all it takes is a phone call because it could be just a
Absolutely.
simple misunderstanding that could be cleared up.
Well, Irma, thank you so much for being here today and for all you do for small businesses. I really appreciate it.
It was an absolute pleasure, Hannah. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And to those of you watching right now, if you'd like to volunteer, we're always looking for more SCORE volunteers and mentors, so please connect with us. Our website is chicago.score.org. My name is Hannah Fernandez. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time on SCORE TV.